Hello and welcome back. Right, it's in place. So let me just show you what I'm thinking, see what you think. So at the bottom here, let's go Imperial. I've got to try and put the camera where my eye is. Give me a sec. So I'm seeing that at 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches there. And over here, it's more like 3, so I want to go a bit more upright. So what I'm doing is under here I've got 2 pieces of wood that way, making this little cradle to keep it away from the back, and I'm sliding this piece of wood down until that rolls onto there. So let's try it again. This end is, I make that 3.5. That's good. I'm not necessarily after the same. I want it to look right, and actually look, that is using my fingers to line it up. That's about 3.5 as well. But I've got to remember there's a door frame around this. And if I put that there, is that too close to the edge of the door frame up there? This is smaller down here. Is that angle? You know what, I could stand on the bench. Right, so there we are. That's rolled, so I've got to get back down. 2 pairs of hands needed. See how that's rolled? Which means that this needs turning to pull that round there. So I've got to, you're going to have to be there for a sec while I'm just moving this around. I don't know whether I should go over a bit more than that. I'm going to slide that down that way a bit more. Pyeongchang is on the front, so that's good. Okay, let's have another look. Yeah, I think that's good. It's close enough to the bottom to look slightly narrower than the top. So it's all about proportion, isn't it? Didn't want it straight up. I felt straight up was too, it wouldn't have looked right. It needs to be on an angle. It's held at an angle. It works on an angle. The angle is important when it's going along, to keep the head, that part away from your face and whatever. I think that's good. Right, okay, so now what I've got to do is I've got to scribe this. So that one face there, see how I've got a gap here. So I'll show you how I'm going to scribe that. So I've been looking and I've found a little thin nut that if I just put that on each face, I can scribe around there. Apologise if my hands are in the way, but I'm going to try and do this so you can see what's going on. I'm going to use one edge and I'm just going to cut across there, just putting a faint line. I will use the same face of this nut all the way around, just double checking the other end, and it hasn't moved, everything's still sitting nicely. I've got to come in from that side really. So that's 2 done. Cutting away from a finger. 3 done. Now I'm going to rotate that under there. Just move slightly. 4 done. I'll join the other 2 up. Right, let's get that out. Right, can we see? 1, 2, 3. Can't see that one, but can see that one, so I'll join that one. Okay, now I've got to mark it up. Get that done. I've got it at an angle. I'm doing it this way so that you can see it. Not my finest saw, but a decent cross cut. I'm going to come away from the line very slightly and see how the saw does. It is oak, and it's not particularly a soft piece of oak. And I've only got to cut down to the cylinder part there. So let's just make sure this line is, I'm happy with this line. Looks good, goes around there. Yeah, that's right. I was holding the square there just in case I needed the square. This is looking pretty good. That line looks pretty good. It's sawing at a funny angle. Nothing's square here. Oh, and this one goes way over. And this side doesn't really need any. So there you go, that's what I've got. Now I'm just going to chisel down to the line. It's pretty close on that point there, isn't it? Right, so I'll chisel this away and then I'll chisel to the line. You'll be able to see that. I've just done that, which is to the line, which I'm pleased with. And now it's just a matter of getting the scalpel and just cutting around there. I've left a bit on here. There's a bit of, you see that? There's a bit of meat on there. There's a bit of. I've left a bit too much there. Scalpel's doing a pretty good job. That's pretty good. I'm pleased with that. I'll try it back in. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm just pairing. It's quite a solid piece of oak. That hole there is the end where it was turned. So what I want to do is I just want to put some facets on the end of here, so that as you're putting the torch on it, it sort of finds its location easier. So let's turn it around a bit more. Let's go that way. So I'm gripping the chisel quite tight, so that I can just take a thin shaving off at a time. I'm trying to get it square across here and head towards that dot, and it's going pretty good really. And the beauty of this is once I get all the way around, let's go there and there. Once I get all the way around, it'll just be a matter of taking it off at the point where the dot is, just to can you see it's quite a hard piece of oak. It really is. Could have used a wider chisel, would have made it a bit easier for me. And I could round that off, but I don't really want to round it off. I sort of want to make it a sharp point. There you go. Now I'm just going to rotate that once and then come in from here and mainly push it. I am slicing the cut that way so that it goes off to the side, but I can just go straight up to the point. But a slicing cut does work a bit better. This little face here now is not looking as good, so I want to take more off it. My hands aren't enjoying this. Sort of choking the chisel so that it doesn't slide around too much with my left hand. And then my right hand is holding the handle of the chisel to just get it control at the other end of the chisel, the handle end. I think I'm nearly there. There doesn't seem to be any evidence of the hole there now, so it's just a matter of finishing these off. I think that's it. Sorry about the camera wobble. There you go, we can't see the end. Needs a bit more off this side, so I can just get that like that. You know what, it's so much easier in the vice. I'm going across that. Right, there you go, we've got this sort of pyramid now on the top, which is good for location. We've got the shoulder down here that's ready to sit into the hole. Let's get it on there and have a look. So I'm just going to make a wedge that's going to go in the bottom of the pin, and I want to go, the grain on this piece of wood, the grain on this piece of wood is going that way. Sorry about the flickering light, I'm trying to get close up so you can see what's going on. The grain is going that way down, so I'm going to cut my wedge from sort of here down there, and then we'll use part of that, you'll see. So I'm going to put it at an angle. I'm not going to cut it straight down. I'm going to put an angle so that I can control it. This is my nice walnut handled Spear and Jackson, which if you've not seen it, have a look through some of my other videos. Right. So now I've got it started. I'm just looking to where I want to finish, which is about here. So I'm looking at the direction it's going and cutting straight. I've gone further than I thought, but that's all right. It's better to be a bit too long than a bit too short. It's going to start breaking through now, as you can see. Still, it's tilted away from me. Slowing it down now because it's just broken through. And there we have it. Nice little wedge. And the grain is going pretty much straight down there, so it's going to be good. So it's sitting there now, and this is good. It's a little bit close to me, and I should be able to turn that and it go further away, but it's not, it's coming nearer to me. So anyhow, it's about putting the saw cut in the bottom of that now for this wedge, gluing it in place. I'll lay it back on its bench, on a bench, and get it all positioned up. So I've worked out the orientation and the way I want to cut it, which is this way. Just going to cut see all that. I'm going to cut it a bit further than I want to, really. The idea is that by cutting it further than I wanted to, there you go. If it feels the need to split, it can. I think I'm just going to go a little bit further with a finer saw. So I've got this little Veritas saw, which is pretty good. That's on a rip cut, and it's a bit narrower look. A bit finer, just to that last bit. Alright, let's lay this thing down and you can have a look. Well, it's raining now, so if you can hear any running water, it's the rain. So look, I'm going to try and do this so that you guys can see what's going on. I've got the wedge, I've got another couple of wedges which I've made really quite thin at the end so that they can curve round, because I've opened this hole up a little bit oval to allow for the spread. Another bit I've not been looking forward to, I'm putting the glue in the slot there. I'm going to put some all around the bottom here. The hole isn't as tight as I'd like it to be, but you know what, with wedges and things it'll be fine. To make sure this works properly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this glue around with this. Now this is the wedge, so what I'm doing as well is I'm actually putting glue all over the wedge. You see that little gap I've got there? Well, won't be there for long. Right, not enough glue on the wedge. Right, so let's start setting this up. Not enough glue on the wedge. So, that goes in there that way, I think. And I put it in the last way, the wrong way around. So I've got to do this, then I've got to check that it's right. I think that's good. I've got a block of wood to put there to stop it rolling. And another block over here just to stop any of that moving so that it's going where I want it. I've got to check where the top is, because yeah, that's bang on the line. Okay, that's great. So let's get some more glue on the wedge. Can you see me? You can sort of see me. I'm here. I'm knocking wedges in with a nice little Warrington pane so that it's got a good sharp little clout exactly where I want it to be. So what I'm doing is I'm just running some glue down here, down the edges. Right, so let's get this positioned. So I've got to check on the inside. Right, it's hard to know where to put you. Sorry. Let's knock this thing in. Let's get it down. It's looking good in there. So I'm pulling as tight as I can down on that. That's wedged nicely. And there's a good glue around that. Right, that's it. Do you want to have a look? Glue there. It's looking good. It's looking good. I've got that there. I've got the wedge in there. It's pretty good. That's it. It's going to sit there for 24 hours. What I don't do with tight bond is I don't get the excess glue off with a damp cloth, because it leaves, on oak, it leaves it black. So I'm going to leave that little bit there. But she's looking good. I've looked the other end. The other end's great.